There we go. Today.
It's always there.
She has to follow. She has
Ready? Ready? Good evening. It's Tuesday, May 12th. I'll call this meeting to order at 6:02. Councilors, thank you for being here. Staff, thank you for being here. Again, members of the public, thank you for being here. Again, last meeting was a little bit contentious, and I just asked that it's okay to disagree. We can all have disagreements, but let's keep it respectful this evening. Let's keep it in order amongst all of us. And I apologize if councilors, if you felt I got a little bit loud last meeting as well. I'll do my best to keep it civil tonight.
Thank you.
Next item is roll call. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos. Here. Councilman Brent Jaramillo. Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Here.
Councilman Daryl Ortega.
Present. Next item, pledge of allegiance.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I salute the flag of the state of Mexico as the symbol of perfect friendship amongst united cultures.
Next item is the approval of the agenda. Councilor, do you have the agenda before you? Do you have any? I think you wish to change.
I have something there. I would like to table action item 6A. Discussion, consideration, and decision about the rules of procedure for the Village of Questa. This was given to me at 5 o'clock. I was out of town, so I didn't get a chance to really work on it. But I did notice that there are some changes, like needing the public comment to go for a 24-hour period. They have to ask for 24 hours before the meeting, and I've never heard that anywhere else. There's a lot of other stuff in there, and I would really like for us to have a retreat and the mayor present, the attorney present, so we can actually go over these items. It's 14 pages, it's pretty intense. And I don't want to make a call like we did on some of the other things that came before us that I didn't really pay attention too much to, so I would like to table that item.
Second, Mayor.
Will you form that in a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with 6A being tabled. Second.
Motion by Councilman Ortega, second by Councilman Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
I'm sorry. Who was the second?
Councilman Gonzalez.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos. No. Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Daryl Ortega.
Yes.
Next item is approval of the minutes, regular council meeting April 28th, 2026.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented, Mayor.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilwoman Gallegos, a second by Councilman Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos.
Yes.
Councilman Jason Gonzalez.
Yes.
Councilman Daryl Ortega.
Yes.
Next item is action items. New action item A is discussion, consideration, decision. Resolution 2026-10, intended potential zoning ordinance updates. You introduce yourself.
Hi, Mr. Mayor, councilors. My name is Carlos Zamora. I work with Site Southwest. I have been working on the land use code assessment. In your packet, you'll see the resolution 2026-10. That resolution creates some intended potential zoning ordinance updates. The idea with this, like we talked about at the last meeting, the idea with this is that we get some direction from the council, from the community on where you'd like to see some of the zoning ordinance updates be moving. And then we could start to work on creating those discussion items, scoping out that type of work, those kinds of projects. The direction that we have on here, very similar to the documents that we were sharing at the last council meeting. You can see that there's three main themes. The first theme is streamlining land use entitlements in review. The second theme is encouraging more residential and commercial flexibility. And the third theme is regulatory simplification and clarification. So the resolution that we're asking for support on this evening is just establishing what that direction is. I listened to your comments in the last meeting around what you thought the direction was, revised some of it, detailed some more of it, got rid of some of the other comments that I was recommending there. So I believe that this should work for you all. If any of you want to adjust or amend or change any of the verbiage and clarification on here, absolutely open to having any changes with that. This isn't establishing any kind of ordinance change right now. This is just trying to establish what kinds of things you all want to talk about in the future, to make sure that we could be efficient with our time, with our resources, and bring you good discussion items. Any questions just about the general, and then I'll get into more of the specifics.
I have no questions, Mayor.
Great, thank you. So attached to the resolution as an attachment, I also have the zoning code and land use ordinance update. So this is the phase 1 assessment and recommendations. In that packet, we talk about how, the purpose of the project that we've been working right now is to figure out how to evaluate the existing land use code, figure out what is working well, what is not working well. I've heard from a lot of different individuals around how the existing regulations have good intentions. The intentions are to ensure orderly development, to minimize negative health and safety impacts. We want to retain those kind of parts of the regulations. What we're seeing a lot of folks saying is that the existing code is no longer reflecting community land processes. The variances and exceptions are being requested quite often. We want to be reducing those. Regulations are difficult to understand. Housing is more difficult to build. Small businesses are more difficult to open. It sounds like Questa wants to change that, and so we've created a direction to kind of amend some of those and make those work better. I've got in here, I'm not going to go over all of it, but we have some findings around what we were identifying, some of the problems were with the zoning and land use code. So you could see things around, variances and exceptions, a lack of flexibility for staff to be able to follow, a lot of restrictions around what residential property owners could put on their properties without coming and asking for permission, problems with tables and formatting. The lack of digital code makes it really hard to see, to search, to read, to identify, creates a lot more staff time on this. So the idea is just streamlining this, making that more efficient. Something you'll also see in the packet is a site suitability analysis. So what we did was we put a lot of different land characteristics and started just thinking about what could some conversations be around what areas in Questa are suitable for more growth, what areas in Questa might be suitable more for agricultural preservation. The idea with this wasn't to say that that's exactly how things should be, but to provide context for a future conversation. So this is more of an example where in a phase 2 kind of session, when we're looking at how are we allowing more residential, how are we trying to support more agriculture, how are we trying to support more commercial, we could use analysis like this to start figuring out how people want to make some of those large decisions. Any questions for myself on the resolution or some of the land use recommendations? I also want to provide some room for Angela from the COG to talk too. But yeah, maybe I'll let you introduce them too.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Council. Thank you for the opportunity to be before you here again as a follow-up to our last visit regarding the land use code and zoning amendments, changes that you all would like to see. And as Carlos explained, they have, through the findings and assessment of existing codes, plans, documents, practices, they've narrowed down what would be the most efficient and targeted changes to make in order to address a lot of what we are trying to address in this code per mayor and council direction. Again, my name's Angela Bordigari, and I'm a planner with the North Central New Mexico Economic Development District. We're councils of government, and we have supported Village of Questa in this ordinance update, and we will talk about the next phase, but I want to give it back to Carlos. I'm trying to think if there's anything to grant, like, well, do you have any questions right now?
Mayor, Ms. Angela, did you or Carlos talk to all the councilmen?
We talked to
As
most
opposed
of
to
them.
last time, you only talked to 2 of us?
I think that we, I think, were we able to reach the, with Councilor Jaramillo, or?
We were not.
We were not.
Any other questions?
I guess my question is more for the mayor and maybe for you. Have you met with the committee that's doing our zoning local folks, or have you met with them?
Thank you for the question, Councilor Ortega. Is there a particular planning and zoning committee
We have a
in existence or
committee,
functioning?
but it's not full yet. It's a 5-member committee. We only have 3 members as of right now.
Okay, that was my understanding, is that you've got part of almost a
That's what it
commission.
sounds like. So I guess my question is, when you reach out to people, are you going around the community and asking people questions, or are they calling you, or how's that working? Because you said concern of the community is growth in some areas and not
Right.
others. So where are you getting that information from?
Well, I believe the village itself, yourselves, but sorry, it just slipped my mind. This is a public process already. Here we are. Everybody can hear it. And we do outreach. We'll be doing more outreach. For this stage of it, this is internal with staff and council. to come up with the process that's more workable, legally defensible, administratively clear. And like I said, it kicks off a more public process, depending on what we do next, depending on what y'all decide tonight.
So I guess my question there would be, is there a time that we can make to where we can meet with, people and forward what we really want done or not done, or what everybody's interests are in the community? Yeah.
I think, really, excuse me, Councilor, on the clarification, I think we're just to approve the resolution so that they can move forward and start the process in organizing public meetings and getting information out there. So for tonight, I think it's just a resolution to allow them to move forward.
Is that what we're doing there?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and councilors, that is relatively correct. I will also add, so the comprehensive plan was the big kind of public process that said, where does Questa want to move? Had a lot of public engagement. What are the priorities? How do people want things to be working and functioning? So that's the majority of where we got a lot of the kind of intention and vision from. The specifics, how we've clarified some of this direction, has come from conversations with councilors and staff. And so that's not a comprehensive, that's not everything that's going to happen. It's not limiting what the conversations are going to be. It's just saying that based on those conversations we've had so far, that seems to be the direction that conversations will probably have. Those future conversations, I mean, we've got a thing here about allow more flexible design standards for residential and commercial development. What are those flexible design standards? We don't know yet. Are we going to make it where there's less setbacks? Are we going to make it where there's more lot coverage? Are we going to make it where you could put more homes on a small property? Are we going to make it where the lot size is small? Like, we've got to figure that out, right? If we make it where the lot size is smaller, a lot of Questa properties are non-conforming with existing code, right? And so the problem is either the code or the problem is all the people who are developing. It seems like the problem is actually the code, and so we need to fix that code. But what do we make that code say? That is absolutely all part of the process that we'd have to figure out. So the intention here is, as Councilor Gallegos was saying, the intention here is to kind of say, like, this is kind of the direction that we want to start moving in. That gives us authority, that gives the COG rationale to kind of have some of that support, and it gives me some direction so I'm not running around, all over the place. So it helps provide some focus or some guardrails. Again, that doesn't mean that that's the only things that we could be talking about, but at least provides those guardrails so that we can start moving forward and having those conversations. So after this process, this is a very, very general resolution, but after this resolution, the idea would be that we would actually start with some of the implementation, and we start figuring out how we could make those code amendments happen.
So Mayor. So do you see community meetings so the community has input on, ideas, not actually changing, but so we all know what the community wants? And I think that'd be great. And maybe you can have some in the day and some in the evening after work hours for people, and possibly a weekend. I don't know, just so we can get people. But I just, I think it's a great idea, but I just want to make sure we have community involvement in this whole process. I don't want to just say, here, you guys do what you want. I would like the community to get involved in what's taking place.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor and Councilor, I think some of it will depend. So when we're talking about, what should the lot size be or something, right? That's something that we'd want a lot of interaction and feedback and guidance on. But if we're doing something like, what is the process that Jacob has to follow to go through with a review thing for a variance? That might not be something that a lot of community members want to weigh in on, but it's something that could still be substantive. So it depends a little bit on what those are. The minimum public engagement is going to be that we draft things, we bring it to council, we bring it to staff. Hopefully you'll be able to, highlight if these are contentious things or whatever's going on there. Then we can be able to bring it to public forums like this, and then see if anybody has any feedback or guidance or engagement. I think for the more complex parts, it wouldn't just be that kind of process. It would be more of that, let's try to get some of that engagement. Let's try to figure out, should it be 10 feet? Should it be a quarter acre? Should it be half an acre? Should it be, off of street A, street B, things like that. I think you're exactly right. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Put it in the Preston newspaper so that you can all be informed as to what you're deciding and try to make a decision on properties.
It's on the bottom. This isn't a
Yeah.
public comment session, but it will be advertised. It's an ordinance, so ordinances have to go to public hearing anyway. So, and that's public hearings that we have to advertise in the town meeting. The Questa newspaper, it's hard for us to advertise it because it only comes out monthly. The House News comes out weekly, so we'd have to put a couple of advertisements out just about the public hearing, so it will be advertised.
What's your timeline? What do you see as the timeline?
Well, here we are. We've moved quite a bit on this as Site Southwest has worked on assessing, analyzing, synthesizing, and making these recommendations tonight. So with passage of this resolution, it's notice to proceed to actually begin doing that. It would be a second phase, and that would be, if that can take place as soon as possible. North Central has availability to support via myself and funding through the fiscal year, June 30th, 2026. So if you all were, I think that's part of the discussion tonight, if phase 2 would actually be more like a wholesale update of your codes, which we haven't put on the table here right now because we started working together and working with what we understood your needs to be, and that's what we're addressing. So what they're proposing is to kind of a surgical treatment of the current documents, current plans, current ordinances to achieve some of these things that he lined out, the things that are a little problematic in practice, as far as like having to get variances for more permit or development proposals than being able to have administrative review by your planner, your professional, to administratively approve some of those changes.
Yeah, I think, just to clarify, I think for the COG, I think the COG has an amount of funding that they could use through June 30th. So if we're able to get contracts together, I would like to try to get as much as possible that we could bring by June 30th. I think that a larger process, I think it's very doable to rewrite the code, reformat it, and fix a lot more things in the code, but that would probably have to be a phase 3 kind of thing. And so that would have to happen after June. But it seems like what we're probably looking at is trying to make some strategic, the least contentious and most impactful changes that we can that are relatively simple from a legal perspective before June 30th.
Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution 2026-10.
Second. Motion by Councilwoman Gallegos, second by Councilman Gonzalez. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Louise Gallegos,
Yes.
Councilman Brent Jaramillo,
Yes.
Councilman Jason.
Yes.
Councilman Daryl Ortega.
No.
Next item is employee recognition. Ms. Shannon.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have 3 people that we would like to recognize today. Chief, do you want to come up?
Which one?
We'll have both, but
Both.
Chief Romero first.
Oh.
Yep.
Just read them or what?
Yeah.
Sergeant Travis Wilder for 3 years, and Officer Michael Hilbert for 1 year now, but 3 and a half prior to that, it's almost 2.5 years, almost 3 years. I think so, yeah.
Want to say anything about them?
They're both great officers. Sergeant Wilder's on military orders right now, and Michael Hilbert just relieved me from a call, so that's where he's at. But other than that, they're doing great, and they're both happy to be here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To them, please. Okay. And I'd like to call up Chief Bobbitt. Chief Bobbitt has been here with us for 1 year. He brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the fire and EMS departments. He has written up a fire code that hopefully we can get you to approve soon. We will be bringing that to council, and we'll go through it and hash it out and see what we can do to get our fire and EMS to have a fire code. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Mr. Laforte, will you resume the rest of the meeting as the clerk?
Yes, sure.
With the record show that Mr. Laforte is now taking over the responsibilities of the clerk for the rest of the meeting. Ms. Shannon, next is you, and Ms. Segura, Village of Questa 2027 annual budget, fiscal year 2027, public input.
Mayor and council, tonight I would like to request public input for our budget for fiscal year 26. So I'm glad to see all these people here because we've never had this many people here for this meeting. I did put some papers over there that you might want to look at. It does have some information. Mayor and council, in your packet is a bigger packet of information. Your information actually has 3 years of actuals. And their information has the summary sheet and it has just the general fund sheet. But I would like to explain each of the funds and what we use them for. And at the end of my presentation, then ask the public if they have anything that they would like to have us consider in putting in the budget for fiscal year 27. I'd also like to ask any of you for any input that you would like to give, because I will be bringing the interim budget for your approval at the next regular council meeting. It is due to the state on June 1st. So our first fund is Fund 11,000, the General Operating Fund. That fund encompasses most of our departments. Our government gross receipts, I have listed them all there for you. We did have one counselor ask about how much we get per month on gross receipts tax. And it's an average this year about 95,000 a month. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. So whenever I see it in the 95,000, 100,000, I'm really excited to see that money. So that's the bulk of our revenue. The other revenue that we have is franchise tax, property tax, business licenses and registrations, liquor licenses. Zoning permits is a new one that we started this year. Other licenses and permits, that would be like one of the vendors, like New Mexico Gas wanting to do a dig, then we charge them a fee for a permit. We used to have administrative fees. When MVD would do a transaction, they would charge $5 or $4 for a fee for each transaction, and then we would split that among different things. We do not have that anymore. There's police services special. That's when people request police records. They want a report or something like that. That's where that income comes in. There's printing and copying here and in the library. There's rental fees for the youth center. There's court fines for the tickets. There's library fines. We don't usually see library fines, but it is a line item. There's contributions and donations, insurance recoveries, interest income, investment income. The difference is We have interest income from our savings, but investment income comes from CDs and other investments that we would have. There's reimbursements and refunds. Usually those are for previous year expenditures that come in the next fiscal year. We have book sales in the library, sales of real property and sales of fixed assets, and sales other for admin and police. Those are sales when we have an auction. We have loan proceeds, miscellaneous other, small cities assistance. You can see small cities assistance. Sometimes it's up, sometimes it's down. And then other state distributions are the specific library grants that money has to be spent for the library. In the general operating fund, we have several departments. We have the governing body, the municipal court, general administration. We used to have the elections as a department, but right now our elections are with the state, so we no longer have those expenses. We have law enforcement, fire protection, animal control. A new one that I'm adding this year is emergency service and disaster. I'd like to put $50,000 in that department so that if we have an emergency, we have a little bit of money set aside to help cover the cost until we can bring in the county or the state or FEMA or whoever. We have the library department and community centers. And then we have transfers in and out. So this report with all the summaries, this is through March 31st of 2026. This is what was reported to the state and approved by our third quarter. We started the year with $1,284,431.79. And at the end of March, we had $783,249.99. One of the things that's interesting in the general fund is that the state requires a 1/12 reserve of all the expenditures in the general fund. So on your report, you see that reserve number of $113,463.91. We cannot spend that money. We have to keep it in reserve. Their idea is that we would have 1 month expenses saved up. And that fluctuates. We do, as practice, have about $200,000 in our savings account that we keep for that purpose. The next fund is 20100, the corrections fund. The judge has asked for $5 for each ticket that comes in to be set aside for this fund in case we have to pay for services for the county or state or somebody else to take care of our prisoners. Then we have that money to pay for that. Fund 20200 is our environmental fund. I used to have a lot of money coming through there because of the sewer bonds. When we built the sewer plant, it has now diminished to hardly anything, but we still have to keep that because we do get a little bit of GRT for that fund. Fund 20600 is our emergency medical services. That is a grant that comes from the state specifically for EMS. We have only certain things that we can spend. We cannot spend salaries on that fund. It's for supplies for the ambulance, equipment for the ambulance, things like that. Fund 20900 is the fire protection fund. Again, that's specifically for the fire department, and we cannot pay salaries out of that. It's to maintain their firehouses, their fire trucks, to buy supplies, to buy gear, those kind of things. Fund 20920 is a firefighter recruitment fund. That's the money grant that we use to start our paid fire department, but that is not going to have any money in it next year.
Shannon, point of clarification is,
Yes, sir.
you said firefighter gear. Can you just clarify that much?
Yes, firefighter gear is their bunker gear. Their wildland gear.
Everybody heard it. I did.
Sorry. I have a lot to say and I'm kind of speeding right through. But yeah, that firefighter, the big jackets that they wear, all of those big boots, all of that kind of stuff, it's how much for a set now, Chief?
Right around 5,000.
5,000 for one set. So it's pretty expensive, and it only lasts a certain period of time. We have to replace it every so often.
10 years.
10 years. Any other questions on that, Counselor? Okay, Fund 21100 is Law Enforcement Protection Fund. That also, we cannot pay salaries out of that fund. That's to buy police cars, to buy their vests that protect them, to buy their uniforms, to get them advanced training. All of these special funds we can have for training. The Fund 21222, Law Enforcement LER, that was for recruitment for police officers. We also, that is not going away next year. We don't have any more money in that fund. We have expended all the monies on that over the years. Fund 216, Municipal Street, that comes from roads specifically each month. It's not a whole lot of money. This year, we've only received $13,000. I do try and save that money for grant matches. So you see that we have $83,000 set aside. We do have, if we get that upper embargo grant, we have a match, and I think it's like 63,700 or something like that around there. So we'll have the money to get that match. But we do buy material to fill in potholes. Out of that fund, we pay for blades for the trucks to sweep the snow. We pay for street light repair, which I know we have street lights out and we got to get those fixed. Fund 21800 is intergovernmental grants. Looks like we have a lot of money in there. It started out with a lot this year because we had a grant to fix our fire station. And so that has all been expended already. So anything that from lore comes in there, anything special that doesn't fit in any of these other categories. A new fund in the last couple of years is Fund 28000, the Cannabis Regulation Act Fund. So we now have a cannabis store in Questa, and so we get a portion of their monies. And we put aside those monies for a few different things for the community, community cleanup, we have community events, and we have beautification. Fund 29900, other special revenue, that's pretty much a wash for things that are happening at the mine with attorneys and with the special professional services that we have to pay for people that oversee those things at the mine for the reclamation. Fund 30300 is state legislative appropriation projects. That fluctuates from year to year. We had a lot going in there this year because we had a lot, we spent quite a bit of money on projects, and we've been able to get some of those reimbursements. We did have some reimbursements for expenditures that we paid last year. Fund 30400 is for road street projects. Those are specific projects for roads, big projects, like the paving on Cabresto Road, the paving on Embargo Road, the bridge project on Lower Embargo Road, NMDOT grants all go in there. We do have one from Capital Outlay that's also included in there. Fund 50100 is our water enterprise. This, anything in the 500s should be self-sustaining with their revenue expenses. The water enterprise fund is where the money comes in when we charge our customers for water. All the salaries for our utility guys in the water department come out of that fund. Also, any pipes, any PRVs, any meter cans and meters, all of those types of things come out of that fund. The 50200 is solid waste enterprise. That is the trash. That's all the dumpsters. We pay a lot of money to get rid of our trash. So that's that fund. Fund 50300 is the wastewater sewer enterprise fund. All these three have to be self-supporting. We're really not supposed to give money from the general fund into those because that's why they're called enterprise funds. They're supposed to maintain themselves So I do try and have a balance at the end to start the next year. It's hard to build money up in those departments. We really need to start looking at reserves for those in case we have an emergency or we have something to come up. You'll hear something about that in my matters from administrator a little bit later. Fund 504000 is the enterprise, is the airport enterprise. That is the maintenance for the airport. We do have a grant that we can send some of our maintenance expenses to from the state that they can reimburse. We also have a grant coming up where we're gonna be able to do some work on the runway and maybe some of the lights. Fund 50500 is our ambulance enterprise. That's where we charge for services for when the ambulance goes out. This is where Ms. Lopez comes in, her salary for the billing that she does for the ambulance is in there. Her salary is actually split between water, sewer, trash, ambulance, and administration. So she works in 5 different funds. Number 52300 is the motor vehicle. That is actually supposed to be self-sustaining, and we almost got there one year and we haven't gotten back to be close to that. But the more transactions we do in that department, the more self-sufficient it will be. We have 1 employee and an hour a week for the supervisor position there. Fund 52800 is a rental enterprise fund. That is the expenses for and revenue for the building at the business park and for the La Cienega gym, because we have rented the gym out for storage. Fund 53500 is for water rights. Every time somebody pays for a water tap, $1,000 of their water tap fees goes towards the water rights so we can buy more water rights. So right now in that fund, we have saved $46,828.72. When you buy water rights, that doesn't go very far. But that is how it is. So do you have any questions, or would you like to submit any information for me for budget input?
Mayor,
Councilor,
Ms. Shannon, you missed one, but it wasn't your fault. You got so many to go through. That recreation, holy cow, that thing is horrible. That is
I'm
horrible.
sorry, I did skip that one. That is our parks.
Yeah, exactly. That part was horrible and that fund was horrible.
We put as much money in there as we need to keep the grass mowed, and we don't have an employee. It doesn't sustain an employee. We don't charge any fees for our parks. So that's all revenue from the general fund that we transfer in there. What we have also included in there are events. So if we have sponsors for those events, like the healing field, we have sponsors for the healing field, those monies will go in there. But those specific donations like that go specifically for those events. So yes, Councilor, we would really need to have some money in there.
Well,
I will make a note.
We can increase that somehow. I don't know how, but I know, Molly Core, the kids were asking about the Little League field. They didn't get an answer, so they came to me. There's some improvements that need to be made on the backstop and the field itself, so we can start hosting some games there. The park, again, it's dirt. Been dirt since I was playing there, so. And prairie dog wolves, same prairie dogs.
Noted, Councilor, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your hard work on this. I think it's very impressive. The way you move your numbers around and the way you keep us on track. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you.
Another drink. I have a question, right?
Councilor Ortega.
So, have we increased the fuel cost? It's going up so high for ambulance and firefighting and police.
Councilor, we will have to increase that quite a bit.
What are you expecting?
I don't know yet. What I try and do in the past is do an average. I look back. I have, since I've been here in 2015, I have all the data for every department, all the way back there. And so I try and do a 3 to 5 year average when it goes up and when it goes down, but there are so many variables. So we'll probably have to do a rate increase and just say, you know, we need 25% more or 20% more for fuel for all the departments.
And just a question, I guess, the mine cost, we're paying somebody for what?
So there are representative, like our attorney, the Chevron attorney, Robles Rael and Anaya, represents us to the mine on that reclamation. And so we pay him. But that money comes from Chevron. So Chevron gives us the money to pay for each and every bill. So it's a wash through.
That's kind of crazy.
It is. That's been the way it's been since before I was here.
Oh, wow.
So when they send me a bill, I send the bill to them and then they send it back to me and I pay the attorney.
As part of the circular requirement, actually, that they have to pay for that oversight for us.
So the thing is, that last meeting we had here on that Wednesday, it looked like the Village of Questa is not involved in anything. Say so, I think the mayor brought that up. And, you know, if we're paying an attorney to get us some say so, I don't know, and we're paying someone else to do whatever they're doing, why do we not have no say so on how the reclamation takes place? And I don't know who answered that. That's a pretty complex question, but.
It's a good question. I think we're trying to get EPA to give us a seat at the table on there. They didn't commit to it. You saw that, Davey. I mean, yeah, that's what we would really like to see at the table.
So maybe that's something we could look at, Mayor, for the future is, Village of Questa being litigants in this, cleanup with Chevron, and we actually could get some monies out of that. If we all decide that that's what we want to do as a council and mayor, I think that'd be a great way for us to get some money back. But that's just.
Commissioner, may I make a quick comment?
Go ahead, Mr. Rail.
Yeah, all I'm gonna say is that the reason Chevron pays for the legal fees for the circle cleanup is that it's required by the circle statute that they pay the legal fees for all of the affected stakeholders. And so we are affected stakeholders, and so Chevron pays the legal fees for all of the affected stakeholders under the circle statute.
I guess I just have one more question for law enforcement. Do we still have, monies to buy weapons for them? I understand that there was some issues with qualifying and malfunctioning weapons and.
I'm sorry, Counselor, I have not heard that, but yes, there is money there.
There is money.
Yes, and something that we heard today is that our Law Enforcement Protection Fund, the Fund 21100, is no longer gonna allow a carryover. So we have to spend it, and that they threw that at us today, and it has to be spent by June 30th, 2026, our allocation for this year.
What was the amount? Remember?
Our amount this year was 101,000.
And we still have.
And we still have, at the end of April, we still had 42,000 to spend. But we still have things in the works to get those trucks outfitted. And when I calculated all the different things, we still have about $32,000 to $4,000 that we can use for more equipment for them.
32 to 40,000? Is that what you said? 32 to
No,
40,000?
3,200 to 4,000,
Oh.
depending on how much they bill for some of the things that we have in procurement so far.
No, thank you, that's all I have.
Chief, it looks like you have some money to spend.
Yeah.
So going back to something Councilor Gonzalez mentioned, so is there money to put into the parks?
I can try and find money to put in the parks. If we have a specific project, it'd be nice to have a project in mind so that we can know how much that we need to do that project.
I think, Ms. Shannon, and I don't know if this is where either of you were going with this, but it would be nice just to see if we can hire a part-time employee through the summer to try and maintain those parks. Because I don't know if that's what your thought process is or what your thought process is. And no, we can't make that decision tonight, but I think that's something I would like to see is somebody that can maintain the two parks, the little islands in town, or not just that, the Veterans Park, but the island across from the Parish Center. Some of that stuff that, even just weed control, I think our guys even struggle sometimes to have the staffing to get the weeds cut along the roadways. And we've kind of talked about that before, but we've never had that.
Mayor, we don't have a master plan, or do we have a master plan to how that park may wanna look? I mean, so that we can go specifically for funding for the park,
For, the Mollypur or for the?
for this one right here, this one right here, this one, I've been talking about this one since I first got elected. Man, this thing looks like hell.
I don't think we have a master plan on that one. We haven't gotten the master plan done on that.
Just a question for Angela. I don't think you heard Councilor Gonzalez's question.
Yeah.
So do you have money to do a master plan for a park? Or do we use it up in this things with Site Southwest?
Councilor, how do you, I know, they're very good. They've already done your comprehensive plan last year, and there's a Parks and Recreation section which I'm looking at right now to see what visions, goals, strategies you have in there for parks. As for, so that would be the first place to start. Document that already exists, it's vision and agreed upon by the community, if that applies. I'm gonna look that up. With respect to your question is whether North Central would help Questa.
Right, no, with
what
either
exactly?
Finance Authority or a CDBG planning grant to make it more of or the master plan to then to go after legislative appropriations. So what I heard Councilor Gonzalez say is do we have a master plan? And then what I was adding on is there planning monies available to make that master plan a reality to then go after legislative or other grants?
Councilor Jaramillo, the New Mexico Finance Authority funds, there's a local planning grant fund, and it does not fund comprehensive plans anymore. It funds affordable housing, and parks, recreational, and master plans are not included in eligibility for that grant. There may be other sources that, Felicity Fonseca of our organization knows ins and outs of CDBG, but as far as getting a grant for that, I think we'd be looking to, well, I don't know if we want to make it part of a capital outlay request or what exactly. I think my opinion, I'm asked for is like to support manager's opinion, come up with a specific plan or project that you want to do. So that we can scope it out, plan it, timelines, and then get it done.
Mayor and Council, we do have meetings with the New Mexico grants people, and they're out looking for grants for us, so I will put that on their list so that they can see if they can find something.
Thank you.
And I know, Councilor, you asked me about this part, but at one time, 3 years ago, Arcadis was interested in helping us with Mollypur Field. And they had actually come up with a conceptual design for us to look at, and then they lost their contract up the hill, so that ended that. But they were trying to help us fix that part down below.
Do we still have that design with?
I don't think we ever actually got it on paper. We were kind of just showing us the concept, and then they lost their contract. That conversation ended.
I'll see if I can find a connection, and I'll ask around some of the former employees to see if maybe somebody has one to give us an idea.
Mr. La Forest says that we have the preliminary design for that. So that's a start.
It'll be good, yeah.
Anything else from the mayor and the council?
No,
I would like to,
Well, I'll open up the public hearing, I'll limit public hearing on this to 3 minutes. And this is just specific to the budget.
Quick question, just a clarifying question. So on line item 21800, the intergovernmental grant, is the source of funding for those both state and federal, or they combine the money? Line
So that fund can actually hold state, federal, and local and private. We had one state grant that was in there for our fire department, which was most of that money, and the other ones are coming from war for private funds.
So 29900, other special revenue, I thought you said that was part of NMDOT, what a grant for
No. And then DOT is in Fund 30400 for roads.
That's all I have. Thank you so much for everything.
Thank you.
Any ideas?
Yeah, I want to ask a question.
Can you stand up so everyone can hear you, please?
Yeah, I want to ask a question about the airport enterprise, that's 51010.
Yes.
How many airplanes, how many people are using that? How often is it used?
I don't know off the top of my head. We have an employee that oversees planes coming in and out. It's a free service for people to use it. So we don't have any hangars or anything over there. We don't have any fuel, places where we get fuel, but they have come in and land it and do stuff, and then they fly back out.
And the other one was for the recreation. Can the village create like a cleanup day where the community, the people here can, go and volunteer to clean up the park? Like, like a Saturday or a Sunday, and the families can go, the kids can go, and then that will increase the interest of the park.
We do have that happening in the springtime, but we can maybe do that more often. So I'll put that on my list. Thank you.
I'm curious about the cannabis, income. And so it looks like, there's $10,000 in there. And I was in a meeting in the fall when it was much lower in terms of what should happen, what should we do? Jason even made a joke like that we should use it to get rid of those certain homes. And, what about putting some of the cannabis money into the park?
That is on the plan.
Okay.
But we can definitely do that even more.
Okay.
Thank you, that's a good idea. Cannabis for the parks.
Anyone else for public comment on their budget? Mr. Sneddles.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I've always thought about this. Is it possible to go after monies to put all this overhead underground in the village? We did that in Red River, House and Shannon, we did all that. And cleaned up Red River, and put all the overhead power lines to the ground. Why can't Questa do the same way? He will clean up the people, clean up I guess what we would call it downtown area. But it's just a possibility. I don't remember if it was matching funds or state funds involved. It was a couple of years project, but we got it done. Okay, Questa consider that as a cleanup. I mean, it would really look nice. I know it's a lot involved. People would have to be involved with their services. They have to convert their stuff on the ground. They would really clean up the community. That's just a thought.
That's a good idea. I will call Red River and see what funding sources they used to
And
help get that.
I think more recently, Towski Valley did it as well. But of course, Towski Valley has
Big base.
pretty, good tax base, but I mean, then maybe they can help answer that question as well, where they got that. Because I think when Red River happened, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Snows, that was probably, I don't know if there's anyone there left at the administration that would remember. Because that was in the probably late 90s.
Yeah. So I'll come.
I mean, I think it's a great idea that at least, or especially in the town area, of course, those property owners would have to agree to it.
I can also ask, we have through the municipal league, all the city managers across the state, and I can also put that question out there if anybody has done that, what funding sources they used to do that. So thank you for that idea.
I'd just like to say thank you for setting money aside for emergencies. It's great.
I'll start with 50,000 and maybe we can build it. We'll see. I know emergencies cost a lot. The hazard mitigation plan is happening at Taos County and we will be adopting that when it becomes available. We have to adopt it in order to be eligible for FEMA funds in case of an accident or a emergency. And so those resources kick in after $50,000. So $50,000 would only help with one emergency. If we would have multiple, then we would have to come up with the monies elsewhere. So I'm gonna start with one and then we'll go from there. This is good. Anybody else? I've never had this much input. I can't tell you how excited I am.
I think the culture's changing here.
Anyone else for public input?
I'm just gonna say, I experience you as highly competent and caring and very well spoken about things. It's reassuring to know you're in charge of planning.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been here for a long time and we are training our finance director, Tiffany Segura, and she's gonna take over when I retire, the whole thing. So she'll learn a lot. She's also learning a lot too, right now. I know. It's a big job.
And as you can all see, Councilor and members of the public, our revenue base is very low. Our GRTs collected are lower than anyone else in Taos County. So that's why we need to look at new ways to increase our revenue. That's the only way we're gonna get more police officers or more firefighters or get the stuff we need done in the park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is it possible that we have created like a recreation house for kids and they could have like, like art classes, painting classes, and clay work classes? We need something for the community so that the kids can have involvement in the summertime. And if some of that money could be appropriated, I know there was the youth center here, I don't know what's going on now. But, in the summertime, a lot of kids really need an outlet, and they need a safe place to go to, away from their house so that they can interact with other kids and not be on the computer.
So noted, thank you.
And I think Ms. Sandoval, I don't know if you've heard of Vida del Norte. It's an organization run by Councilman Gonzalez's wife, but I've been a member of that also for 10 years, but they do have a summer program that they work through the office down by their office, but they're also doing an after-school program at the youth center for some of these youth. It runs until about 5:30 or 6 every evening. We do at the library have a summer reading program that every Friday, the youth come out and they have different activities, like they'll have a touch a truck for them where they can touch different types of emergency vehicles. Last year we had the helicopter actually fly in. Was it last year or the year before?
Year before.
Helicopter actually flew in and landed in the Councilor Gonzalez's dirt park, and they kids were able to approach not when the blades are spinning, but after it shut down, they were able to see the helicopter. They just do different stuff like that.
Is it for all ages or is it separated by age groups? Because the learning process is very different according to certain age groups.
It's by all ages.
So summer reading is going to be from every Tuesday and Friday. It's going to start June 5th, and it's for ages 4 to 12.
Thank you, Ms. Leon. Ms. Leon helps run that program.
Thank you all for your input. Thank you, public, for your input. Appreciate it.
Next item is matters for the attorney. Mr. Rael.
I have no matters for the council this evening.
No matters.
I had some questions for you, if I may.
Councilor Ortega has a couple of questions for you, Mr. Rao.
Sure. Good evening, Attorney Rael, how are you doing tonight? The first one is I can see that we've started a groundbreaking on the solar array. Are you aware of a lease through Chevron to Kit Carson? Am I what? Aware of the lease from Chevron to Kit Carson on the solar array, the breaking ground it looks like? Yes, I'm aware of that lease. So there is one? There is a lease between Chevron Mining and Kit Carson Electric Cooperative. Can we get a copy of that? We did receive a copy of it. Mr. Dave Lafayette got a copy of it. Is it privy to the council? Was it? Can you speak into the mic? Or maybe you are, I can't hear you very well. Can you say it again?
He's asking if it's privy to the council, that lease.
Yes, the council could be the lead. Can we get a copy of that? For tonight? That'd be great. Also, the next question is, what's the status on the USDA grant? Where are we? The one you filed? The FOIA request? Yes. We have had no response yet from USDA on the FOIA request. And like I told you, the second I get a copy of the grant application, I will forward it to council. And that's a couple of months old right now, correct? The request? Yeah, I tell you, a month and a half, 2 months somewhere there, we asked you to do it. Then my next question is, did you find out if it's legal for us to get a piece of property that's leased to Kit Carson Electric, and then they're gonna turn it over to us, and we're gonna put solar arrays on there with the grant we got of the 25 million? Is that even legal? Is it legal for us to give Kit Carson Electric a piece of property? No. So Kit Carson Electric is leasing the property from Chevron, right? Right. Then we're using our $25 million grant to put solar panels on this property, correct? If the council decides they want to, sign a power purchase agreement with Kit Carson Electric Cooperative, then the council will apply for, and the village will apply for, and be eligible to receive a $25 million tax credit for the solar array. There's no grant. We would be eligible to receive a $25 million tax credit.
I think Councilman Gonzalez is referring to the $25 million, Council, I'm sorry, Councilor. I apologize. I think, Councilor, I'll help out to that one a little bit. We don't, since that was part of the 2027 fiscal year budget, we don't have any information on that grant yet until after after July 1st. We'll know a little bit more about that, so.
So at the last meeting, I think there was a company that came in and said there was a $4 million grant added to the 25 million. Is that correct?
That's
for the solar array.
That's a different grant than.
But that's a grant, that one's
That's a grant. And that one's.
And that's attached to the solar array only, she said, right?
Yeah, but that one is under review right now. We're reviewing it right now, so.
So Attorney, Rael, there's no PPA right now with Kit Carson about the $25 million? The village has not entered into any PPA with Kit Carson Electric Cooperative. That would have to come before the council for approval. Okay, thank you. That's all the questions I have. You're welcome.
Anyone else have questions for Mr. L?
No, Mayor.
No, Mayor, thank you.
No.
Next, we'll move on to matters from the administrator.
I guess today's my night. Our cleanup days for May 8th and 9th this last weekend went very well. 7 dumpsters were filled again. And I was told they collected 579 tires.
579. Wow.
So between last year and this year with the tires, eventually we're gonna get all the extra tires out of Questa. The second item I have is that the dumpster audit results are still pending. Ms. Lopez reached out to our rep on Friday last week, but we are still waiting to hear back from him. This is really important now. The Questa VFW building has been taken over by the state VFW on Sunday, May 10th. I'm in contact with the adjutant and sent her some information on the equipment we purchased with the $25,000 grant back in 2020. Some of that equipment was a stove, refrigerator, a few work tables, steam table, sink, commercial microwave, hand mixer, freezer, coffee percolator, bus cart, meat slicer, food processor, and various pots and pans and utensils. She said they are getting the building appraised and will send us a purchase proposal so we can consider buying the building for the Village of Questa. Ms. Vigil has set an appointment with Sharp USA out of Santa Fe to come and look at our chamber's audio system. They will be here this Thursday to see what we can work out. The pump and motor on well 1 are operating but going out. We received one quote for about $11,000 plus shipping, and they will be available for shipping on May 31st. Mr. Rael is looking for other vendors to get quotes.
That was well number 1.
That was well 1. It's still operational
Where's that located?
by the school,
The one in front of that?
the one in front. I received a follow-up call from Diana Sanchez Gonzalez. She owns 3.32 acres of property near our 30K water tank and is interested in selling it to us for $24,000 an acre, which would total $79,680. The tank is on the northeast corner of the where her property is, and I'm gonna look into that to see what the fair market value of that property actually is. Next meeting, I will have the fiscal year 27 interim budget for your approval. We received a quote to get our water tanks inspected for $4,877 with Midco Diving and Marine. We're in the process of getting it set up for an appointment for them to come and inspect those water tanks. And lastly, early voting begins this Saturday, May 16th at the Questa Municipal Court. They will be there Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6. And on election day, which is June 2nd, the hours will be 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So they'll be bringing in the machines on Friday and be operational on Saturday for early voting, Tuesday through Saturday.
6 to 8 on election day.
That's the information I was given. I thought it was going to be 7 to 7, but maybe they misunderstood that the people will be in the building from 8 to 6, 8 to 8, but then the election's from 7 to 7. I'm just conveying what was told me. Thank you very much.
Any questions for Ms. Shannon?
I have a couple.
Ms. Shannon?
So, cleanup day was a success, but was it the whole community wide, like, I understand some trash came in from Red River tires, and
Counselor, I was not here,
so did we have someone?
so I don't know. Ms. Lopez was there and all our utility guys were there, so I can ask her where all those people came from. Usually we open it up to all the people here in Questa.
I understood that, but I had a bunch of concerns that trailer loads were coming in with tires from other communities.
I will ask.
All right, thank you. And then I have another question. I sat in on the QEDF meeting this month, and they stated, Ms. Maria Gonzalez asked if, well, actually, Manakias Royal asked if there's a way to get DOT to slow traffic down from town. And Maria Gonzalez asked me if I could bring it up at the council meeting, and I said I would. I don't know what we can do to slow traffic down other than patrol the area, but they talked about walking from the coffee shop to the Monte Carlos, like a 5-minute wait, with all the traffic just flying through town. That's what they reported to me, or report at the meeting, so they wanna see how, I think Brent was there, and they were wondering how DOT could help us slow stuff down like they do in Manassa, is that what they brought up, I think?
Yeah.
Colorado and other places, but I just thought I'd make it aware to everyone on the council and mayor and yourself that
Okay.
some issues of some kind, and maybe you can reach out to those individuals and see what their plan is on how to try to slow traffic down.
Can
might be a good thing.
you give us an update on that?
Yeah, Chris Ortiz from NDOT advised that speed warning signs will be installed. One north Highway 522, one south Highway 522, and one on Highway 38. And those are supposed to be installed in June. So that might be the.
They are signs that will blink at them and asking them to slow down.
And-
But I will also reach out to them. I don't know how we go about getting them to reduce the speed limit through town, but I can ask.
I don't know exactly what the plan was, but I did hear it and say I would bring it up, so I brought it up when I did my part, so.
Okay,
That's something that we can, and I think me and Chief talked about it a little bit, but we can petition to see if we can lower the speed limit.
Yeah,
20, or at least do an engineering study to see if it was
I know
25 versus 35.
see a lot of heavy equipment going through here, or hay and stuff, and it's not going very slow. If a kid was running across the road or on a pedal bike, I hate to see, and it's just, I'm also concerned, so. That's all I got, and then, that's it.
Next item is matter from mayor and council. But if you're from, I'm sorry, Councilor, did you have any questions from Shannon?
No, I don't.
Next item is matters from mayor and council. I'll start off real quick. I spoke to the water chief about setting up a meeting next week, and I told him I'd get back with him, see what your availability is next week. I did suggest to him that we have the meeting after 5 o'clock in the evening, because we all work, or after 6 o'clock in the evening. But are you all available any days next week? I know we probably don't want to do it Friday night, but we do need to know. And then I'll get back with him tomorrow and see what days he's available to. And his council is available, that way we can put out notice for him.
I think just for an FYI, Mayor, meeting you didn't attend, and Councilwoman Louise was we brought up that issue, and I think we all decided, or myself and Councilor Louise decided that we would be available anytime. And I don't know, I think Brent was the same way, and I think.
Monday to Thursday will be good.
Yeah, anytime for me.
Okay, we'll have Ms. Hill, well, I speak to him tomorrow, and we might follow up with him tomorrow and see when they're available, and we'll have Ms. Hill let you all know when it is and post forum and location.
Another one of my questions, the second one is, can we schedule a retreat to work on that 14-page document and other issues we're having?
We usually have one every year to discuss the budget. But I have one this year, but yeah, we just need to find availability for it. We just have to find availability for it.
I think sooner better than later, and I'm available. I'll make myself available anytime, so. That's all I got.
Councilor, do you have anything?
I think that's enough. Thank you.
Well, speaking for myself, I would be interested in purchasing the VFW. We have the money. I would like to hear public comments from Mr. and Mrs. Cisneros if they think that's a good idea. They worked hard. Thought Mr. Garcia was here earlier, but I mean, to me, it's important to know what you guys think and want, since you guys have been the ones that have built it up over the last 20 years, maybe even longer. So it's important, or at least for me, to hear what you guys want from the building. And I think if we were able to afford it, we should look at doing that as well. It does function as a community center as well. So I think it is an important community asset.
I agree, Gordon.
I think we're hearing from the county commissioner now, so there might be some money out there to help the village. I'm not putting you on the spot. You're talking in your ears, that's it.
Anything else, Councilman Jaramillo?
Just, I guess, for Mr. Mafare, how do you see the ICIP process?
Met with the mayor, and we discussed, what projects that are currently on there can be removed. And removed because they're already fully funded projects. I don't know that we should add any more new projects to the ICIP. I think we should focus on the ones that are on there and try and get them funded and finished. The only exception would be maybe a request for some new trucks for the public works department. Other than that, I'm working on updating all the budgeting information in it, adjusting legislative languages if I need to, and then hope to have or present them to you, did we say the first meeting in June, so that we could discuss ranking and then submit it by the deadline tomorrow.
Mr. LaFleur, I think there's a line item in there for the park, so we could, I don't think we need to add that project to there. It's already on there to maybe look for that.
So on there, we can adjust it.
Okay.
And maybe rewrite it.
Okay.
So questions?
Next item is public comments. It's the policy of the governing body to accept public comment. Because your issue is not on the agenda, the governing body cannot respond immediately, but may direct staff to address issues at a future council meeting. Public comments are limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. I do ask that you wait until the little thing beeps, because the staff isn't hearing your names when you state them. Sometimes the beeping starts. The other thing I do ask again is for some professionalism, some courtesy, and let's just respect everyone's public comments. Try not to make noise during that person's public comment as they're speaking. Let them get to their public comment. And I'll open it up.
And then, well, you speak, or should I speak here?
Go ahead and come up to speak.
I did this right.
You know what?
All right, my concern is that,
Hold on, Miss Sunderland.
okay, my concern is that the friendship circle is displaced. Is there a building that the Village of Questa can offer them to do the cooking when somebody has passed away, that they can have the kitchen access? What about the is there a place where I know there used to be, when I first moved here, we all go exercise by the library. There was a building there, and it was where the kids used to go. And I know they had a kitchen in there, and I was thinking that would be a perfect place for them to store some of their cooking pots and pans and to use it so that they can prepare food for the friendship circle. Because I know that I spoke to a few of the women and they're pretty upset. So they need a building, and that's part of our community. So that would be nice. And the other one that I wanted to discuss is that I'm in a difficult situation because there's a lot of big heavy trucks constantly coming up through my alley. And I never wanted to close it because my father said that was where people came to go to church. And so that road has never been kept up. I've fallen just walking over there because there's deep grooves, and it's been used for many, many years. And I would appreciate if you guys would put a sign not allowing to be. I almost had a big, huge truck run into my house this morning, and it rumbles. And like when they were working on the church, 3 of my beams fell down in the back part of the house from it shaking. And now that they've been working on the road, my house is just vibrating. So I'm real concerned about all these big trucks. We're still a village and we're still small, but there's so much progress going on that we have all this machinery, all this activity with traffic. and which is good in the summertime with the farmer's market and all the different events that we could have. But for that particular, alley, I call it alley because I grew up in the city, but the little roadside road there, I would feel like it would only be right that these big trucks cannot go through there anymore. Because the structure of my house is damaged from it and I have to pay for it. Okay, that's it.
Thank you, Ms. Underwood. Would you just state your name for the record?
Oh, my name is Teresa M. Flores Sandoval.
Thank you.
Greetings, good evening.
Ms. Underwood,
Ms. Madhukita Rayal,
would you?
speaking against, regarding the hydrogen plant. How many solar panels will there be? Electrolyzers, cooling units, fuel cells, storage units, compressors? What size? What storage capacity? What is TNT equivalent in blast radius in worst case scenario? 8,200 gallons of clean water wasted per day. How can we be rushing into this when there hasn't even been remediation on the first Molly one? We are still dealing with the after effects, nearly 300 toxic spills. Last health assessment was 20 years ago. How much sickness since? Recently, we learned tailings are not fully covered. A pilot project. EPA lawyer nodded her head in agreement when asked for a science experiment. Why weren't people notified? We've been breathing in toxins for years now. Per EPA project manager, it's a shame when made aware of the many unanswered questions. I ask of you, can we submit questions and get answers? New Mexico Inspection of Public Records Act guarantees public access to government records. U.S. Freedom of Information Act ensures informed citizens vital to democracy. Why are we placing powerful infrastructure so close to where children learn, play, and grow? With new technology, no one can say it's harmless. We're living in a massive ongoing experiment with no long-term studies, surrounded by signals, frequencies, invisible ways we don't fully understand. Placed too close for us for convenience over concerns. Regulators say exposure levels are within safety limits, but those limits are based on what we know so far and what they choose is safe. History shows safe doesn't always mean safe forever. Instead of asking, is this proven to cause harm? The question should be, why take the risk? Why place industry near schools and homes before long-term multi-generational studies? This is about awareness, discernment, and remembering progress often comes with a cost we don't see until it's too late. We must distinguish between sustainable growth and unacceptable, often unseen cost to our well-being. I don't think these corporations, especially from out of country, truly care about us. Our resources should be untouched by them. They only want profits. If you allow this, you're opening the door to industry forever. You could be leaving future generations with debt and another industrial mess. Are you asking hard questions before ground gets broken or after? Small towns are victims of a renewable energy experiment. Corporations are seeing what they can get away with. We deserve to know what's being built next to our water, air, and land. We will ask questions and look deeper. We will advocate for safer placement and stronger research. Citizens should have the strongest voice in this room. There are other ways to support vulnerable populations, appropriate water rights, and create jobs. If government belongs to the people, why can't citizens vote on this? This affects so many more than just the 5 of you. Please know we are not here to get on anyone's bad side nor make enemies. We're here because we want Questa to remain the most beautiful place on earth. This is what will draw the people. One drop of clean water is worth more than anything. It's up to you to keep Questa the jewel it truly is. Protecting health shouldn't come after harm, it should come before it. Children are not test subjects, and communities deserve transparency. Please do what is right. Technology, no matter how advanced, should never move faster than our understanding of its impact on the human body, especially young children. Thank you.
Good evening, my name is Honorio Justin Royale. I am a generational Questeño. Before you is an IPRA request. I want all communication between Questa personnel and KCEC. Additionally, I want all communication between Questa personnel and Chevron regarding the hydrogen project. Now, at the last village meeting, I discussed some of my concerns about conflicts of interest. I hope those are being addressed. I'm here today to discuss some concerns regarding the Open Meetings Act and the New Mexico Procurement Code. Under NMSA Statute 10-15-1 in relevant states, quote, all meetings held for the purpose of formulating public policy, including discussing public business, are declared to be public meetings open to the public at all times. Now, this is important because the last time this project was voted on, was back in October 8th, 2024, when this council voted to support the hydrogen project in resolution 2024-23. This resolution is simply an overview of the project, which has changed drastically since. Notably, this resolution does not grant the mayor legislative authority, meaning the mayor does not have the power to bind the village without approval from this council. And if he is obligating the government without proper authority. Now, on January 6th, Kit Carson released a PR statement that says, quote, "Once approvals are finalized, the project will proceed to bid vendors." Now, on May 1st, this Kit Carson released this to open the bidding. Now, I have a couple concerns regarding this. First, how and why is Kit Carson actively accepting bids for a project that has no MOU or contract with the Village of Questa? If one exists, it was reached behind closed doors, which contradicts the OMA requirements. Further, in Toltec International versus the Village of Rio Doso, a corporation entered into a contract with the village ordered by the finance director, but it was executed without authorization. The New Mexico Supreme Court held that this contract was illegal and void as a matter of law. We essentially have the same situation here where a third party is trying to contract for a project that has not been approved. My second concern, why have we entrusted Kit Carson with the procurement process? Kit Carson has pledged to follow the procurement requirements. However, I spoke with a former procurement officer who handled both funds for the state and Taos County, and they informed me that they have never seen in their 15-year tenure a corporation handle the procurement process on behalf of a government agency. Why are we letting Kit Carson steamroll us here? To conclude, I'm asking you to make it clear to Kit Carson that they need to stop publishing propaganda that is misleading to this community. And I ask this body again for transparency regarding this project. Finally, I dragged this youth out. Can we please show them what a proper functioning government body looks like and forego any personal attacks tonight? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. I'm here to provide formal legal notice to you guys, specifically to Mayor John Ortega, basically speaking upon what Mr. Al just spoke to you about.
Can you please state your name?
Patrick Medina. I've identified many potential violations here, mainly pertaining to the mayor and the conflict of interest between Kit Carson and the Village of Questa. I do have a formal legal notice that I will be providing to you guys today. I have also left it open-ended for all concerned residents, reserving the rights to pursue all available remedies under state and federal law. If there is no recusal of all negotiation, all formal contracts, anything from the mayor, then we will continue on and we will pursue any kind of litigation that we possibly can here. So I'd like to put this on the record. Who do I give this to?
Ms. Shannon.
Ms. Shannon, can I have a copy of that?
Anyone else for public comment?
Comments?
Hello, my name is Patricia Gallegos, and I just don't want to feel like I'm here as your adversary. I'm here as a community member, and you know, I want to be able to leave here tonight feeling like you're still my friends, you're still my neighbors, and that's what I want this to be, okay? But I have been, I've had concerns about the hydrogen project. So I've been doing, along with my daughter, research, and we've had a really good time doing this. We've learned a lot about how the water, my biggest thing is the water, which we don't have. And 2 weekends ago, my husband went behind the house to the compuerta and took pictures, and I posted them, and it's dreadful. And we went last weekend to Springer, and if anybody's been by the lake there in Springer, it's, I mean, in Eagle Nest, oh my gosh, the difference. So who here can tell me out of this hydrogen project, and I don't know if you guys can answer or not, but How many gallons a day will this project take? Does anybody know how much it'll consume? No.
82,000.
How much?
I believe 82,000.
82,000. Okay, the research that I've done in other areas, they're talking up to 1 million gallons a day. So does anybody here, can anybody here say how long New Mexico, specifically Taos County, has been in a drought with the state overall? 132 years. That's been an ongoing drought. All we have to do is look outside, look at our rivers, our streams. So my biggest thing is this. And like I said, don't personalize this, just use it as information. When I cast my vote, I vote because you all are the eyes and ears for this community. And you're not 100% liable for this by any means. That's where we need to come and be more effective on our own showing up. But when I look at that and I see that this hydrogen project is going to go through, that tells me somebody hasn't had their eyes open. Somebody hasn't been looking around, they haven't been paying attention, and they haven't done their research. Specifically, like I said, I'm all about the water. And I really appreciate your stuff about the school, the kids, the effect it's gonna have on the community. We don't know what it's gonna do. You know, we don't live, we don't have a, you know, we're not genies in a bottle and say, hey, show me with my one wish, this is what's gonna happen in 25 years. But if I'm seeing today what I'm seeing today, where is this water going to come from? We cannot compare a laundromat, a car wash. You can't compare things like this to a hydrogen plant. They're not even in the same cat. They're apples and aliens, really, is what that is. But if anybody here is interested in looking at the research that we have found, it's astounding. But yeah, thank you guys.
Hello, Mayor and Council, and Sola Peterson. Sola Peterson. So I just made a few notes about the people who were speaking about doing some land ordinances and so how does that work? That we have a group working on land ordinances, permits, and rules. They're asking the council about land use and size variations around the community. Chevron has many lands they own in the Questa area. Why is Chevron allowed to decide on how to use the land they are using for a proposed hydrogen plant without permits or city planning? How big of a tax break is Chevron going to get for leasing the Molly Mine tailings site to Kit Carson Electric? Who benefits from the solar array and the green hydrogen plant? I've been guided to inform the public about the green hydrogen plant. I have found out what I could through inquiry, newsletters, Kit Carson Electric, and the public. I handed out diagrams about the hydrogenation process using solar electric. I shared newspaper articles and encouraged people I have spoken to call their county commissioners, city council, Kit Carson Electric Board, and express their concerns about a 296-acre solar array and a green hydrogen plant being built on the Molly Mine tailing pond site using groundwater rights owned by Chevron and a Superfund site land owned by Chevron. I had the pleasure of spending the day in Questa last Friday, May 8th, was joined by another concerned citizen and planned to put up flyers inviting the public to a community meeting on this Thursday, May 14th at the VFW. Also had educational materials and petitions to sign to stop the hydrogen plant from progress until more studies on land and water use have been done. We were offering our materials and had the petitions in a public place. I think the 3 or 4 hours we were in Questa, we must have spoken to 50 people. The people were all very willing to sign petitions. All the businesses I went to in the town of Questa were more than willing to have flyers up announcing the community gathering to discuss the green hydrogen plant. If there were any people against the hydrogen plant, they did not say anything, and I'm sure there were some. Mostly what I saw was a village of people who do not want another mining project started by Chevron. Chevron owns Questa, as far as I can tell. I don't think the people want them here. and I don't think they want to work with them anymore. Questa Village people need a new way of bringing in economic development. From what I saw and heard last Friday, Quest is done with Chevron and may want to back off from Kit Carson Electric. Thank you.
Waiting for the zero. Okay, Jessica Joseph, and as always, I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I do want to publicly take responsibility for my part in low blows and things getting less than professional. Jason, I did send you a text the next day on your Village of Council phone, and so I hope that you did get that. If you didn't, maybe I can find another way to get that to you. So I want to say that part of the reason things got so heated last week is because there has been so much suppression of information, suppression of the public being able to bring the hydrogen onto the agenda in order to have the community discuss it. Last week, there was suppression of your own council person who had to come and speak via public comment in order to even speak to his own council. And so I think that riled me up a little bit. But it speaks to the issue that is also pervasive in this whole hydrogen project, which is that it is founded in conflict of interest. It has been negotiated through a conflict of interest with the mayor. And as that's getting negotiated, it seems like there has not been a lot of transparency or reaching out to the public. And in addition, there has been an extremely low bar of vetting of this project for Questa. And I ask you as the council, why are you allowing such low standards to bring something into Questa? Questa deserves so much better than that. Questa deserves top quality vetting. Every study possible, no matter how long it takes, every study for safety, every bit of construction mitigation to protect the children and the community and the water, and on and on and on. And I don't have a ton of time, but why are you accepting the lowest bar of vetting for major industry in this community? I wish that you should be respecting your own community and the richness of the history of this place, which is not as published by KCEC. It's always been an industrial town for 100 years maybe, and look what it did. So I want you to ask good questions, please. I want you to raise the bar in the vetting. There could be other possibilities and opportunities come along that are way, way better for Questa. And we don't know that if we don't vet it. And KCEC is local, so we just kind of maybe let them slide through or something. But I'll say the same thing to you I've been saying to Louise for 8 months. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Slide it through.
Norm Gallegos from Sierra, New Mexico. I want to let you guys know, everybody, I want y'all guys to know something. I've known this for a while and I didn't even think to tell you. We had a meeting one day in Cerro one morning and Luis Reyes was there. After the meeting, Luis came up to me, shook my hand, and he said, Norman, he said, what do we got to do to get you on board with this thing? I said, it's just 2 things. It's not just me, it's everybody, the entire county. All you gotta do, Luis, all you gotta do is prove, 1, that this thing is not dangerous, and 2, that it's not gonna run us out of water. Guess what he said? He didn't say nothing. He got away from me. He got away from me because it is not a good idea. It is dangerous, 1, and 2, it is gonna use the water. Yesterday I was watching a video, and there's a lot of videos on the internet, and they're true videos. The Rio Grande last year had 50 miles of dry bed in it. 50 miles in the Rio Grande. The Rio Grande is running right now today, or yesterday when I watched that video, 3% of its water, 3% of what should be running in the river is what's in the Rio Grande right now. We cannot afford to put a plant that's gonna use water. We need to do something that's gonna work like Jessica said here for Questa. We need something that's, something that's gonna be good business, but not dangerous and not gonna cost us our water. So anyways, another thing to think about. Whoever agrees, I'm gonna tell you guys one last time. When you stand before the white throne, whether you believe in oxygen or God or not, you will stand before the white throne someday. And if somebody dies because of that plant, and Jesus says, why did you put that plant there when you knew it was dangerous? That little pendejo Norman told you it was dangerous. You did it anyways. You're not going to be able to say, Lord, forgive me. I didn't know. You knew. You all guys know it's dangerous.
Dried up, his well's dried, I wanted to get up and speak, I don't know. But I'm holding your hand. Please, thank you. We need your voice.
Muy primo. All I can say is that my well did go dry. And I guess I was incorporated into the Village of Questa, but I can't get water from the Questa, correct? Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I was told anyway.
Excuse me, I didn't get your name.
And what's that?
What's your name?
Raymond Gallegos.
Thank you.
And I don't know if there's an answer to that question or not. But I would sure like to know, because we're running out of water. The neighbors next door are out of water. And I was told I'm on a 3/10 of a mile from my house, from where the water ends, so I don't know if I'll ever get it or not. And that's a question I did have to say. Thank you.
Mayor, may I use just a second, is it 2 minutes?
No.
No, okay. What happens if I shout out anyway, we me out? Because I think if we can afford to hook up the food from Mars, we can hook him up.
Somebody's,
My name is Maxine Rael, and I am just here to let you know that the drilling of a well is approximately $26,000. I just had somebody in El Rito let me know that they had to drill a second well because their original well went dry. And the cost that she's paying is $26,000. So just think about that. You know, how many wells are gonna have to be re-drilled in the Llano, Cerro, over here? The aquifer is definitely gonna go down. You know, we need to think, how much is the water gonna go up here in Questa for us? I'm not trying to be, again, you know, I respect everybody's opinion, but at the same time, you know, we need to think of our younger generation. We don't wanna leave something that's worthless or that they can't occupy. I am looking at leaving my errors, my stuff that I have here. But if it's not worth it, you know what, if they can't live here and they can't do a garden, they can't do what we grew up doing, what good is it? You know, what good is it that they can't make a living here? That's all I wanted to say, is there gonna be some kind of a fund or something that's gonna help all this wells that are drying? Because you should really consider doing something like that. If you're thinking of approving this hydrogen project, you should put money aside for all the wells that will go dry.
Danny Garcia, former commander of the recently taken away post 7688. So there you have it. I'm here on the water issues. I've been studying, I'm the chairman of the Cabresto Lake Irrigation. I've been studying the flow. As a matter of fact, we just had a study from William Miller, the Cabresto and Llano Irrigation on a joint venture to a diversion. Llano got 1 week and 2 days of water for the whole irrigation last year. This year, 0. Our gauge, when the gauge reads 12 second feet, anything above 12 second feet, Llano could get water. Right now, it's at 7 second feet. Cabresto isn't even getting their fair share. And the study that Socorro did or something in 2015, I think your aunt helped sponsor it. In 2019, they said, yeah, the wells are going, they're going dry. I have copies of that documentation. They said we're losing between 1 and 3,000 acre feet per year since 1980. So that's billions of gallons of water. One of the problems was the Village of Questa, they notified them, you guys have leaks, you guys have leaks. When you submit your report, the administration back then in the 90s was, oh, well, it's not surfacing and it's not going through the meters, so we should get constructive credit, get back credit, instead of charging us the thousands of acre feet. That was the response when you were council member 2, when they were sending letters, certified letters, and saying in 2013, Village, you guys are over diverting. Oh, well, we don't know by how much. You know why they didn't know by how much? They failed since 2007 till 2013 to submit to submit the meter readings. When they finally did, they said, oh my gosh, no wonder you guys didn't want to submit them. In 2 years, I want to commend the current administration and the current utility superintendent. From 2016 till now, they've used less water than what the Village of Questa pumped out in 2 years, 2012 to 2014. So I want to commend the current administration for about this problem. So that's why I'd like to meet with the people that I saw that you said there's a lot that are for it. I'd like to meet with them because I know for a fact we don't have no water. And on that study, it says it's falling from the edge of the mountain, it's going underground. It's not coming on the surface.
Anyone else for public comment?
So my name is Cassandra Noel, and I drive down here from Amalia. I've been in northern New Mexico in some form or fashion for 40 years. It's the lowest I've ever seen it in the canyon, looking at the river. So in the 40 years I've had the opportunity to make that drive, it's very disturbing. I've been studying for the last 12 years regenerative agriculture. And a lot of people think that the way northern New Mexico looks now, it's always been that way, but it has not. It used to be a grassland savanna. And so there was grass. There wasn't acres and acres and acres of sagebrush and dryness and bare ground. So the thing is, we're concerned about what the water cycle as it currently stands is broken, very, very broken. And I haven't studied the Taylor Grazing Act well enough, but we actually recruited huge flocks of sheep to come and graze. And so part of what's happened is overgrazing, but grazing can also heal the land if it's done in a good. So what we need here in northern New Mexico is we need to move from dirt, which does not absorb the water, which allows runoff, to soil. So we need to start recharging the aquifers. We're using, we're taking, and not doing what's necessary. Rain falls more where there is covered ground, where the ground is cooler, and where there are trees.
and there are remediation things that we need to be doing. It would beautify, it would restore, it would make a difference. But right now, we're wanting to put technology in that will not bring more rain, that will not restore the soil. I do not know, I haven't looked at the numbers on what a 200 to 300 acre solar field does, but I know it doesn't make the land cooler. So we're doing things. The hydrogen plant is innovative, it's experimental. I don't know anybody in this room, to include the council, who would want to live next to it. Would you want your home to be across the road? One of my friends is concerned about the value of her property right now, about the noise. There are risks to the technology. I was deeply disturbed to learn from the mine when I went to the EPA meeting that 1 million gallons of water is being released. So we have groundwater that is being funneled through the mine, supposedly getting cleaned up and going. And the New Mexico environment guy says we can expect that in perpetuity. That needs to be corrected.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Mayor, council people, councilman, council.
I know you Mr. Snell, but you.
Want to address you, my name is Larry Cisneros. You know, I was, the reason I brought up the issue of putting all our system underground, or putting the system underground, is to beautify Questa. But you know what I see, if you really take a step back, there's a lot of fighting going on in this community over this project. It's not good. How do we ever come together? How do we resolve this? You know, I've taken things, my own, you know, I've taken kind of things into my hands as far as what I think I can do. Whether it's coming up and speaking on behalf of future generations, people in the future that they want to come here, our children, what are we going to leave them? You know, if this goes south. And I thought about this, and my concern is just the actions we take, even our council, you know, and I alluded to this at the Kit Carson board meeting, but I'm going to make the same statement here. There's something called fiduciary duty, and Councilman Rael up there can probably get the definition of that. And the fiduciary duty is something that's important. And if you violate that, an attorney will tell you, if you've got the information about this project and the possibilities that this thing could go south, you have that information, we still proceed. Fiduciary duty basically dictates someone neglected something, or someone didn't study something, and the idea that there could be possible litigation. That's not the rabbit trail I'm going to follow. What I'm looking at is, man, let's just come together. Let's make this thing work. I'm not talking about the hydrogen project. I'm talking about the community. Yes. I think the leadership needs to bring this community back together. I've done my part. This first time I'll say it, I've contacted RUS. My connections out there. I've spoken to the assistant administrator. They'll be sending me a response back. I've given him information, 16-page letter with my concerns. I mean, it's sometimes it's the small things. Right now, working out there on the solar plant, there's a disturbance on the ground. That traffic going up and down. Considerations like that. Considerations like our wells, if our wells dry up. That was brought up at our board, at our water association meeting, where someone made the statement, if the wells dry up, we'll just have to drill you a new well. Well, look at the cost of a new well. A well house, the plumbing, you know, who's going to pay for the electric bill? Because if they got to go deeper, it's going to be a bigger pump to pump water if it's there. It's something that I think the council needs to take seriously. And Mayor, I think, you know, that you've had enough on your plate, but I think this is important. It's about the community. Put the community first. Bring it together. And if you got to stop this project, stop it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Well, we'll close public comment at 7:59 and we'll adjourn at 7:59. Thank you all for being here, staff, council, Mr. Rael, and members of the public. Always appreciate hearing from you. We'll adjourn at 7:59. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
The only question I have is the village prepared to take on litigation? If there's litigation activities over this? I'm recording right now. I just wanted one question on the record. Like, is the village prepared to take on litigation over this?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. That's all I want to get on the record. I just want to get that on the record. Okay.